Hello and welcome to Knit.Purl.Repeat. My name is Jess. I'm coming to you from Southwest Florida. This channel is mainly about knitting, but also spinning, crochet, and occasionally some sewing. So if that sounds interesting to you, then I invite you to grab a project, get comfortable, and join me for a chat. This is episode 9. Hello and welcome back. If you're new here to the channel, thank you so much for stopping by. Today, I am not going to show you everything I knit in 2024. This channel only started back in October, and so there's not too much that would have been new, 9 months of things, but I did talk about some of those items in those episodes. So I thought what I would do instead is just pick those items that are maybe apparel or accessories or something and talk about them in regular episodes. So I'm not going to do a special episode. So if you're here for that, I'm sorry if that disappoints you. But that's what I'm going to do, is kind of use them as my finished objects and talk about them in terms of a little more detail now that I've had them for the year. What have I thought? What would I change? You know, those kind of like some feedback on them now that there's been some time. I will list all that information in the description box for this video. And I will put links to my Ravelry page there. But you can also find me on Instagram, where there will be photos, but not as much information. So where can you find me on Ravelry and Instagram? Both places, I'm Jess's Makes, and I'll put that up here on the screen and below. For Instagram, it's jess.s.makes. I also have an email address for this channel, and I will put that on the screen here and in the description box below. So feel free to contact me in either any of those places. Instagram probably is the fastest way I'll see it, just because it's more in my face than the other two locations. Okay, so let's get into today's episode. Oh, what I'll also do is put in timestamps for the different parts of this video, so you can come back. You might need a break. I'm not sure how long this is going to be. I have already done some recording and I've deleted those videos. So, you know, feel free, of course, to pause, come back, take breaks, or leave when you've had enough. I get it. Hello, this is Future Editing Me, and I forgot yet again to talk about the New to You make-along that is going on right now, hosted by Cocktail Hour at the Coop. They're here on YouTube, and also you can check out their accounts on Instagram. All you have to do is try something new to you in the fiber arts between now and February 28th. Post a picture on Instagram with a comment of what is new to you, and use the hashtag NewToYouMal2025, and you'll be entered to win prizes. You don't have to do a brand new craft or anything like that. It's anything that's new to you in the fiber arts. New materials, technique, whatever it might be. There will be prize donors. There's a range of them. I don't know what everybody's donating. I will be donating prizes to the overall winner. Actually, I'm not sure if they're doing an overall winner and then favorites. I'm not sure how it's going this year, but I have a gift card lined up to the Woolly Thistle yarn shop for the winner, or a pattern of their choosing on Ravelry. So get those photos posted, use the hashtag, and try something new. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled programming. So let's get started. I do have my laptop next to me, so I'm looking down. It's because my brain is like a sieve, and I can't retain a lot of this information, especially if I'm talking about things from a year ago, but still details from recent makes. Anyway, let's get on with it. Let's get moving. So let's start with the first object that I finished. Well, first project, first garment that I finished in January of 2024. And that is this sweater, which is the Easy V. I am wearing bright pink sweatpants. Yes, they don't match. I'm working from home today. I'm working from home today online, so, right. You're the only ones to get to see that. All right, what about this sweater? I had no intention of making this pattern, buying this pattern when it came out. I thought it looked fine, it looked nice, but whatever. And then I went to Rhinebeck in October 2023, and I saw somebody's Easy V, and I had to have it. I had to cast it on. So I did. In December 2023, I cast on this sweater, and I cast off at the end of January 2024. So it was my first finished object of 2024. I use, this is DK weight. It's all superwash yarns. All of them are 100% merino. The main color is Marble Heather colorway from Knit.Purl. It is their Swish DK. The three colors in here are from independent dyers. The blue and the white with speckles are both from the Farmer's Daughter Fibers in their Juicy DK. I'll put the color names up here on the screen. And then the gold color is from Blush Fiber Co., an indie dyer located in Texas, I believe. So I really enjoy about the pattern that it had a color sheet, so a blank sheet at the end. So I actually used my colored pencils and tried out how I wanted the colors to go, because I did not swatch for the sweater. I know, no swatching. But it was such an easy make that as I was making, I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. If I have to rip it out, I don't mind. I was in some sort of phase where I'm like, it's fine if I have to rip it out and knit it again. And I did. So I knit the collar first and tried it on and measured it, and it was way too big. So I had to start over, but that was okay. So you start, it's knit top down. You start with a rolled hem, rolled edge, and then you begin this ribbed pattern here in this V shape. So you make increases as you go out. You do some shaping for the shoulders, which I really love this detail. I love this neckline. I believe there must be short rows. I can't remember if they're in the ribbing or in the back. I think they're in the ribbing because the back is definitely slightly longer than the front. It was a very fun, very easy knit. If you wanted a first-time colorwork sweater, this would be a great one to do, I think. The only things that I didn't care about in the way it turned out were, I knit the size 3 for the body, and then based on the schematic, I thought, oh, I need to go up for the arms. I think in the end, I probably could have kept the arm. I went up to the size 5 based on the schematic, but I think a size 3 would have been okay. But there is something that goes on in the pattern at the end of the color work, both where you split for the sleeves and the body, that did not work out well. The short rows or increased it, whatever we did there, I don't remember. Did not work out well, and you get this bump below here. I know there's a difference in tension because you're going from color work to sleeves, but I don't think whatever that was necessary. And it produces this kind of rippling, as you can see, like under here. If I turn to the side, you can see the rippling. That's about the only thing I don't really like about it. Otherwise, I would probably just take that, not do whatever that was to make it better. I did end up taking a crochet hook and making a crocheted slip stitch all around the edge here. So right where this rolled hem meets the ribbing. And I just did it loosely enough that it was at the same tension as the rest of the sweater, because I found that when I wore it, it was slipping off a side or so, and my bra straps would show, and I was kind of pulling it up all the time. So I found, it was annoying. This has been great. It doesn't move at all. And it's not like you need extra stretch because it's a big V open shape that it goes over your head. Fine. I did do the color work on the sleeves. I usually don't, but I actually really liked it. And it was so much fun doing it that, it's more interesting than just doing one color all the way down. So there are no decreases until right before the end to get this sort of ballooning effect. It is a fantastic garment. I love it. I wear it like a sweatshirt, mostly at home. I wore it up in Georgia, up to the cabin. It's great. I love it. I did wear it to Rhinebeck this last year in 2024. Well, I wore it to Saugerties for the events there before the Rhinebeck event started, New York State Sheep and Wool Festival. And I did really well in it, even though it was hot, until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon when I'd been sweating enough, even though I had a t-shirt underneath, that it had to come off. I could not wear it anymore. I was too hot. So initially when I made it, I only did a steam block for it. When I got home from Rhinebeck, I gave it a proper wet block with soap and everything because I've been wearing it and sweating and whatever else. Since that time, the Knit.Purl yarn has been pilling like crazy. It pills every time I wear it. Right after I depill it, it goes again. I mean, it's 100% superwash merino, so I figured there's going to be some pilling, but I'm really hoping that it gets it out of its system, especially once it's worn a lot and then gets washed again at the end of the winter. But I think you can see it. Yeah, all these little specks you see on the camera are actually pills. And I just depilled it the other day. And they come out in this darker gray. So it's not just, look, it's the arms everywhere. It's the back, of course, under the arms, but it's no more under the arms than everywhere else. And I'm not even wearing a jacket. There's nothing rubbing against it. It's just coming out. And also on the inside, right? This makes sense because it's rubbing against me, but it pills a lot. So I'm hoping it gets over that before, I mean, it's not terrible, but then I want to pick at it. So anyway, the other yarns, these are not pilling. These are holding up great. So it's just something about this Knit.Purl yarn that is pilling a lot. So I would recommend it. I would make it again. I'm pretty sure I will make it again. But I want to pick a lighter yarn, so something that's not a worsted superwash yarn, but not something that's warmer because this was plenty warm. So we'll have to see if I can find the right yarns to do that or not. Okay, let's move forward. I'm gonna look at my list. Right, most of what I have now are near finished objects and whips, and then a couple of acquisitions that are part of my future plans. I'm gonna try not to talk to you like an over-caffeinated squirrel, but I wanna keep this short, so I'm sorry if I'm going too fast. You can slow me down on the little gear settings icon on YouTube. But I don't wanna take up too much of your time. I don't, but I might. All right, near finished object number 1 is the Farag cardigan. So it's black, right? Can't see it. But if I do that, you can see the light going through the beautiful lace work. So this is representative of ferns. It is a bottom-up DK weight cardigan. You can do short sleeves or long sleeves. It is a drop sleeve construction. It alternates these lace panels with a simple cable up the back. I have just blocked it because I wanted to see, I wanted the edges to lay straight so I can pick up for stitches for the button bands and to finish the sleeves. I did the neckband and it is way stretched out because I was just trying to stretch out these lace panels and I had it laid out funny without stretching out the cables. I wanted the cables to make sure they stayed up, but actually they hold up really well. They didn't go flat at all. So I've talked about this before and about sizing and, excuse me, fluff in the nose, issues with that. This is the first size, the small size, which is not the size I really wanted to make. But with the aggressive blocking so far, because I'll do more when it's finished, it fits just like in the schematic, so it's fine. It is cropped. It does hit me just kind of below the belly, high hip area. So if by some miracle, I'm gonna believe in it because it's a new year, if there is any yarn left over that's enough to extend the bottom hem, then I will cast on stitches, make the hem, and then graft it to this one. Because it is knit from the bottom up, and I don't find picking up stitches and trying to knit in the opposite direction looks very good. I think it's noticeable, at least the way I do it, it is. If you know of a good way to do that where you can't really tell, let me know. I'd appreciate it. But you're always off a bit because the stitches are off because you're going in the other direction from the direction of the stitches you initially made. But that's working out well. Hopefully it'll work out. Once it's done, I'm going to wear it for a while, see how it fits. If it bounces back a lot and gets even smaller, then I will go and order another ball of yarn, even though I know it may not be exactly the same color as this, the saturated very true black, but I think that's okay if it's just going to be the very bottom edge of the hem. And then I also have some sweaters in the future that I would like to use the yarn for. This is from Morehouse Farm, and I just don't need it right now. So this will have to wait to be extended if needed until I'm ready to make some other projects with their yarn. But this is nearly done. I just have to do the button bands. I'm not doing buttonholes because I'm not going to close it. And then the sleeves, I just have to finish the little cuffs on each side. So that one's almost done. Next up are a pair of socks that I cast on New Year's Eve, and they're now all tangled in my other projects over here in a bowl. So there we go. And it's only a Wednesday. So today is Wednesday, January 8th, 2025. Forgot to mention, I've only been back to work a couple of days, but you know, I'm over it. I'm ready to just sit around and knit. So I have finished one sock. I am this far on my second one. I'm on the foot, and the pattern is by Nancy Wheeler. And let me say already, this is going to be like the Bainbridge Island and Nancy Wheeler episode. I am not some weird obsessed fanatic of Nancy Wheeler. I am not stalking her or anything. I can't help it if the woman makes great sock patterns. And right now, they just work for me. So I have another one that's coming up for several that you'll see. There will be others as well. But this is a great one. I hadn't knit yet, and it was in my library. It's the Smoke Gets in Your Eyes pattern. You can see that, probably not. See if I can show it to you this way. So it's a great, easy repeat, as Nancy's patterns are, right? It's not vanilla, but it's not super complex to get into, lots of texture. So it's a 5-round repeat. You do a 1x2 cable every so often. Some other little stitch differences in there with knits and purls. And that's it, all the way down. Now, so you might be asking yourself, or maybe you're not, what yarn is this and why is there a safety pin? So this yarn is the New Year's Eve mystery sock set from Mandi's Makings that I bought before Christmas, and was wrapped up so you didn't know what it was inside. And I didn't open it until we got back from Georgia, so I did very well. I didn't want to peek, but it came with this little progress keeper. I don't have the maker with me now. I will put them up here and link them below. This cute little 2025 progress keeper. The safety pin is one that I use to baste my quilts, and it's worked out best for doing that cable. Now, I was doing it without a cable needle, but with this yarn, it's a bit splitty, and I kept dropping the stitches. It just wasn't working that well to do it. I did it for a while, and I got fed up. I didn't have anything smaller really to use as a cable needle, and toothpicks would work, but they're sharp on both ends. This is sharp on one end, and only the end where you're picking up stitches. So as long as I'm careful to not split the stitches, this has worked really well for me. And so far, knock on wood, I haven't been jabbing myself. So there's been no bleeding on the yarn. So it's working for me so far. So I really like that. And when I'm not using it on the other rounds, I can just stick it to the sock and I don't lose it. So those will be done hopefully, maybe even by the time this video goes out. Okay. Next, so that's it for nearly finished objects. The Prairie Skies sweater that I have been working on, I will get back to that later. Nothing's been done with that so far. All right, so I also cast on, when I finished my Christmas projects, I'm sorry for the noises, I did cast on the Popple Bandana, a free pattern from the Lamb & Kid, located on Bainbridge Island, Washington. I did frog my Ruthie shawl, the part that I had been knitting, and I'm reusing those yarns here for this pattern. Let me find them here for you. These are yarns from the Lamb & Kid. And they are Birdie by Diamond Lane in the color Esprit, and that's the extremely bright. It is this hot pink Surrey alpaca silk blend. It is 74% alpaca and 26% silk. It is 100% lovely. It is great. I'm working that as the contrast color, and the main color here is called, the color is Vintage. It is the Lamb & Kid's Trio base, which is a merino cashmere nylon blend. 70, 20, 10 percentages in that order. So you use 2 fingering weight yarns, or in this case, I'm using lace weight, but it's floof, so it fills in. It is a free pattern. You start at the bottom, and then you start introducing your contrast color. Now, pay attention to the pattern. Don't start going off like, oh, I know what's happening. So what happens, and they do tell you, kind of as a warning, that sometimes you are slipping stitches with the yarn in front, both on the wrong side or the right side. Sometimes you're slipping stitches with the yarn in back, whether you're on the front or the back. Pay attention to which way it is on which round you're on. It's not difficult. It's just, oh, I have to follow the pattern. I got to read what it says. So I realized after starting that, like, these are really skinny and they don't look very nice. And why are we slipping here and slipping there? Until it dawned on me that it did say in the instructions that slip your needle under the double strands. It said the word double strands. And then you pick them up and you knit sorry, you can't see that. You put your needle under the double strands that should be double, 2 of them on the front side, the right side of the work, and then go underneath there to knit with your main color. And I remember thinking, double strands, what are they talking about? Until it dawned on me, oh, I read, at one point I saw, I'm like, oh, on that round, I was supposed to have done that with the yarn to the right side when I slip the stitches, so that you get 2 strands. You get these nice little shapes here. So very different. And you can tell mostly on the back. This is correct. This mess down here is not. Those strands should have been on the right side. So just pay attention when you're doing it. Unless you like the skinny ones, but I think it looks nicer too than on the back, right? That looks nicer than this mess, if somebody's gonna see the back of it. So I'm enjoying it. I haven't worked on it for the last few days because I've been working on the ferret cardigan and my socks. But I'm gonna get back to that one as well. Sorry, there is now floof flying in front of my face. Okay, up next. Okay. The last new cast on work in progress was my New Year's Day cast on. I did cast on Andrea Mowry's Hey Sailor cardigan. And I bought a kit from La Mercerie, which is on Bainbridge Island off the coast of Washington State. I'm using the knitting for olive cotton merino, which is what Andrea used in her pattern. I think it is fun to try it out in the yarn that the pattern used. I'll talk about that another time. Especially when sometimes that can be more helpful to you than swapping out anyway, we'll talk about that another time. Let's not bring that up now. We don't have time for that. Okay, so this is all I have done so far, but this took a long time. I finally figured out my swatches, and I ended up having to use my, I'm going to go with wood needle tips because I got better gauge with that, better fabric. It wasn't so loose. I'm going to be using the Luca wood tips. I only have a couple of them. They're not my favorite because I don't like the cables. They're okay, especially if you get the swivel one, but they have a lot of memory in them. If you have a set of interchangeable wood needles that you really like you like the join and you like the cable, or they're pretty good, if you can please let me know in the description box or send me a message. I would love to try some other ones. I'm primarily a ChiaoGoo knitter, metal tips, but I couldn't do metal with this. It was just way too sloppy. The only other issue, not issue, but challenge that I had at the beginning is that you do a tubular cast on, which I'm fine with. I usually do a long tail tubular cast on, but in this case, I needed to cast on for, I'm doing the size 4, over 300 stitches in light fingering weight yarn on size US 1, 2.25 millimeter needles. So I started looking at other options, and I knew about there being a yarn over method where you cast on half the number of stitches and then you do a yarn with yarn overs and then you just knit into those to expand it. So I was interested in that. So I tried a couple different methods using scrap yarn with it, like a long tail cast on but with the scrap yarn. Then there's the crochet provisional cast on version. I finally went with a tutorial from Roxanne Richardson, and I will link that tutorial below, using the yarn over method. So working flat, which you work flat anyway, but I'm not going to be joining it in the round later. For odd number of stitches, because it varies if you're doing even or odd numbers, and did the yarn over method with the crocheted provisional cast on. That worked out really well, and the yarn behaved nicely. When I undid the crocheted edge, that came out, it behaved nicely. So I was thankful for that. Because it took me a long time to figure out how I actually wanted to cast these on. Because you're using such small needles, normally when you do a tubular cast on, you go down a couple needle sizes, right, to tighten it in. Otherwise, it can tend to flare at the bottom. Well, I'm already knitting with US like 1.5s or 1s. I don't have zeros, double zeros, things like that. So I just chose some sock needles and I did it with those. I think I did US 1s, 2.25. And what I'm doing then is I'm using 1.5, US 1.5, 2.5 millimeter needles to knit the 1x1. So this is 1x1. This is the bottom hem because it's knit from the bottom up, but it's very easy. And I don't think the flare at the bottom is too much. I think that will be fine once it blocks out. It does flare a tiny bit at the bottom. I don't even know if you can see that. I'm sorry if you can't. But anyway, that's as far as I've got. It's going to be a long-term project because it's light fingering weight on small needles. Eventually, I will change up to the US 4s on the wood needle tips because that got me, it actually got me gauge prior to blocking, which for me will be close enough for this pattern. Okay, that's it for the nearly finished objects and the current works in progress. Now for a little bit of what's coming up next on my needles, what are the plans, acquisitions kind of put together. If you are participating in the Farmer's Daughter Fibers Sock Squad for 2025, and you have not received, unfortunately you might be seeing it, you have not received your January journal or yarn, and you haven't been looking at any of the social media or anything like that, then, and you still want to be surprised, look away now. I will tell you when I'm done showing the yarns. Okay, now's your chance. Okay, so what you get for this year is you get a journal that this time is the artwork from Land and She. And so it's a journal, it's a planner for the year, and all the artwork in here are the inspirations for the colors that we'll get throughout 2025. So each month you get a 100-gram skein of fingering weight yarn and a 20-gram contrasting color mini to go with it. You can do one each month, post them on the various forums to earn prizes, things like that. I feel like you don't have to knit socks, whatever you want with them, as long as you use it up, use almost all of it up. You don't have to use the mini, but you have to use the main yarn. So people have done hats, they've combined them together to make garments, all kinds of things. Anyway, so inside the journal then, it tells you about what to expect in terms of what you're going to get, not colors directly, but what you're going to get, some of the kind of, not rules, but things to know. And then these are the 3 yarn bases that you will receive randomly throughout the year. So they're all a range of a light fingering to a more heavy fingering weight. All superwash merinos and nylon, just in various amounts and from different sources. The merino itself is from different sources. There's a goal tracker and a place to put some patterns that you want to try, so you can make a list there. And here is January. So this is the January inspiration. So you get a calendar with the artwork. Okay, now I'm going to show you the colors, and you can get information about the pattern inspiration and pattern suggestions. So here's the yarn for January. Isn't it gorgeous? I think it's gorgeous. It is all me. As soon as I saw it, I thought, if this is the first one for the year, this is my year. I'm going to love every month this one. Because, you know, sometimes you get things that are surprises and you're like, it's not really me or something, but I love their yarns, and usually the colors, I will use it for something. Even if it's not something for me, I will gift it to somebody because they're fantastic. So that's this one. This is the January 2025 Sock Squad yarn on, I'm not going to say what the base is in case people don't want to know that either. But I will show it to you here, but I don't think my camera wants to really focus on it. I will put it on the screen in case it doesn't, because then the other people don't hear it. So what am I going to make with this? Okay, I'm done showing the yarn. I am going to make, get ready for this, a pattern by Nancy Wheeler. Because of the yarn colors, whatever the yarns, the main and the mini, right? That helps me determine what kind of pattern I want to make. I have a lot of pattern ideas in mind, but I didn't find them really what I wanted to make with this one. I was thinking of the DRK Everyday Socks by Andrew Mowry. Those are toe up with a fleagle heel and this rib texture. They come in like 10 sizes, and I love that pattern. I really like it. There's really comfortable socks. I wear them a lot. So I do plan on making more of those this year. But what I thought I would do is make another pair of socks that are also toe up. I don't normally knit toe up anymore. That's how I learned toe up 2 at a time on Magic Loop. But it was because I couldn't get the fit right on the foot until I made these socks. And so I'm going to make these again. Plus, I just love the pattern. I think it's because of the trees. So they're called the Wintery Woods Socks by Nancy Wheeler. So this is my printed out pattern. It's beaten up because I've used it before. I know it's black and white, but it has this great little tree motif. So you have to knit them, well, you knit them toe up so that you get that motif right, because you have to pick up. It's similar to the other pattern, the popple bandana, where you put your needle under the strands of yarn and knit the next one so that strand gets pulled up. I really like this pattern. It's the first toe up sock pattern I ever knit where I nailed that foot length. It is perfect. And it has the gusset heel turn heel flap. Normally when I've knit toe up socks, you get the fleagle heel, or you have to put in an afterthought or short row heel. Short row heels do not work for me. Even with making mini gussets and things, I have a high arch and a really steep instep, and they just don't fit me well. They don't stay put, they move around. So this was great to actually use that heel flap in there. It's a shorter heel flap, but it's still there, and I love it. And there's a little bit of a pattern up the back of the leg, which I like. It kind of reminds me of those stockings, right? Where they put something up the back of the leg. Not that I wear those. Not that you need to know that, right? TMI, sorry, back to knitting. So anyway, I like that little thrown in on the back side. So I'm going to make those with the January yarns. Now, I will have leftover yarn. What am I going to do with those leftovers, right? That's the question. It dawned on me yesterday because somebody mentioned something that reminded me that Schira from Imagined Landscapes is running a Year of Gnomes kind of make along, knit along. And I thought, you know, that would be fun. Maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't, right? We'll see. I've done 2 of her mystery knit alongs and they were a lot of fun. And they are fun to make. I love, especially with those guessing, like, what in the world is this going to be? But it's nice to not have that mystery and know up front and make some decisions. So there are several of her gnomes, the patterns that are on Ravelry that I've looked at that I really want to make. They are just, there's just something about some of them, the little details that I absolutely love. I'm sure you could figure out, if you're really good with coming with the knitting, you could figure out how to do different adaptations off a basic body, but you know, I just want to enjoy it. I don't have to figure it out. I just want to follow the instructions and have a cute gnome at the end. So I have ordered her Gnomes of Grimblewood. I believe that's the title of it, right? Anyway, I just ordered it off Amazon last night. I think it's supposed to come today. Yay, Amazon. So I'm going to see what patterns are in there, are the ones that I really want to make. And then eventually get some of the ones off Ravelry that are not in the book that I love. I've got a short list. Well, it's a list of 6. So we'll see if they're in the book or not. And I thought what I might do is every month, whatever that sock color was, is use the leftovers to knit a gnome. And so I'll have a sock and a gnome for every month throughout the year. Now, I'm not putting pressure on myself. Maybe I don't do it one year. Maybe I don't even get my sock done that month, right? So I could do 2, I could do 1, whatever. But I thought that would be a fun thing to do with the leftovers. So that's my idea now. We'll see what happens as the year progresses. Okay, I think that's the only other one I want to talk about. I might as well wrap it up with Nancy again because I have another pattern of hers coming up to do. But it's part of an acquisition. Not from Nancy, but from Canada as well. The Grocery Girls knits, the Grocery Girls had a, what do you call it? A bundle you could purchase that was also a fundraiser for breast cancer research in Canada. And what caught my eye with that one, oh, I can support this. That's a great thing to support. I mean, we have that in the US and other parts of the world as well, but sure. That sounds good because along with it, you got a bag from Thread and Maple. I love bags and I've always eyed the Thread and Maple bags, but haven't bought them. You got a skein of yarn and a pattern. And I chose the shawl pattern. There was another option, but I don't remember what it was. Now, as I'm sure a lot of you are probably aware, depending on who you watch here, Canada Post was on strike for what, about a month? So that disrupted, of course, shipments and receiving items. Stuff was stuck somewhere in a sorting office. Anyway, I ordered this right after Rhinebeck. It was a pre-order, but unfortunately then things got stuck because of the strike. But just recently, I got my parcel all the way from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, down here to Tampa, Florida. Not as far away as I could get, as I said, as Leanne told me there's another place, another yarn shop even further away. So I'll have to make a trip up there one day. But what did I get? Oh, well, let me show you the bag. So you got this Thread and Maple bag. So it's in this pink and it's kind of, oh, I don't know what you call it, burgundy. It's this gorgeous wine color. It's leather handles. I mean, it smells so good. Inside, it doesn't come with the strap, but it has the loops to get the crossbody strap that you can order from them or get anywhere. And a nice big, you can't see that. What am I doing? Nice big pocket with a zipper. So a little bucket bag. And inside, we got some goodies. This is Knit for the Girls. That was the name of the bundle with the Grocery Girls knit, Louie Lola yarns, Thread and Maple, and the pattern design by Shelly Can. And so we got this pin, I Knit for the Girls for breast cancer. Now, men also get breast cancer, but we know, I think statistically more often it's women, I believe, but men do get breast cancer as well. Sadly, right, all cancers suck, right? We also got a little tape measure for the Grocery Girls. I don't know if you can see that little embossed emblem on there. That was so cute. I'm not sure what that's made of. Oh, it does smell of leather. I think it is leather. I thought maybe it was pleather, but it smells good. A little card from them, and I think that was that. And of course, the yarn to knit to knit the shawl. But I'm not going to knit the shawl with this yarn. I thought once I saw the yarn, and because I don't know if it was a surprise. I don't remember. Right, this is the end of October. I can't remember. And it's for breast cancer. I thought, I know the perfect pattern. I'm going to have to make the Tittygaga socks by Nancy Wheeler. And because Nancy had done that also as breast cancer awareness, breast cancer fund, donating proceeds at the beginning of pattern sales for that in Canada. So I don't know. Look at it. This is the Louie and Lola yarn, Knit for the Girls 2024. It's a 75, a 25 superwash merino nylon. It's a light fingering weight. It is all gorgeous and soft, and I think this will be really fun to knit those socks. I don't know when I'll knit them, but they're on the list with this yarn. Okay. And that was it for my acquisitions. I'm looking around to make sure I haven't forgotten. I'm sure there's a lot more I could go into here, but we are at 39 minutes. So, oh, I have lost something. Okay. All right, I think other things I'm not going to talk about. We'll talk about it another time. The last thing I did want to mention, so I'm done with the knitting content and things. If you're not interested in hearing anything else, I don't blame you. If you've had enough, if you've stuck around, thank you. During Vlogmas, I had received an order that I placed, so I'm not sponsored is what I'm saying. I paid for this with my own money. A little kit from Jones Road, so makeup supplies, beauty supplies to try out in a little kit. I've used the eyeshadow, the lip gloss, and the Miracle Balm. I haven't used the mascara at all yet. I don't use the eyebrow gel, and I smelled the little roller perfume. No, that's not for me. That went to Minnesota with my sister. I put it in a box. I forgot to tell her that that's in there and see if anybody else wants it. Oh yeah, I didn't tell her that was in there either. So anyway, I'm thinking out loud, and I don't know if she's watching. I don't know that she does. Not really her thing. Anyway, I wanted to give feedback on the Miracle Balm. So it's this stuff in the little pot. So it looks like that. The one I got is bronze. So you're supposed to use a very tiny amount. This one doesn't have like shimmer glitter stuff in it. It was the one recommended if you have rosacea. So I do have rosacea. You just touch my skin, it turns red. But I also get these like breakouts on my face, so it almost looks like you have acne. If you've ever had rosacea, you know that. You'll know that. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. But I was skeptical a bit because I was thinking, I bet it's just like a bronzer. And maybe what they're saying is it like you'll get the same kind of overall glow on your whole face. But I didn't know how that was going to work for not drawing attention to this area where it gets bad. And because you have to, you take a tiny bit and then kind of tap it and rub it in. As soon as I do that, my face turns red. So it looks red. It doesn't look good. So I let it calm down and waited. And I think really in the end, it is that idea of just making your whole face this kind of bronzer on it, which I didn't find really looked good. I have been using it on my lips because it's safe to do so. It's got a lot of nice oils and moisturizers in it, and you get that little bit of a shine. So I've used it for that, but yeah, this is not for me. But I love the eyeshadow, and the little shiny little lip gloss thing was fun, but this for rosacea, for me, no, it's not really for me. It's not going to work for putting it on my face, unfortunately. Especially now that it's so dry and it's colder, it'd be nice to have a little extra moisturizer. But anyway, I said I would give you an update on that, so there it is. So thank you so much for joining me again. I hope 2025 is going to be even better for you than 2024, no matter what that year was like. I hope things are off to at least a decent start for you. Yeah, So I will see you next time. Until then, take care. Bye.